We are going to start another module which is called a module number 17 for implementing feedback for your development team. Okay, so in this we are going to understand about how you can track the issues, errors, how we can create alerts, and this is the model which we are going to look into that basically more towards you can say the monitoring activity. Okay, and in this model we are going to implement tools to track system usage, system failure, and how to raise alert, how to look at the crash report, how to look at create a monitoring report and dashboard, how we can integrate your ticketing system, which you can go ahead and implement into your Azure. Okay, we are going to talk about this activity here. Okay, so to implement, you can say the monitoring activity. Okay, we'll talk about this inner and outer loop before as well into the earlier module. Okay, we talk about just if you remember, we created something called there was some outer loop example and there was something inner loop. Okay, so there was two loop which was there, and we talk about outer loop. Outer loop belongs to some DevOps developer or DevOps engineer. They are going to create an infra for you. So they generally create an infra. Okay, and that infra will be used by your developer. Okay, so this is what a developer does. So DevOps does infra creation, the setup for the infra, and the infra and those things will be used by your developer. That is called inner loop. Okay, developer is going to do a test code, build, and testing. So they are going to do this activity into day-to-day activity. They are going to build a code, they are going to develop a code, they are going to test the code. And the each layer, as you know, as you remember, the DevOps in a continuous process, we always look for the feedback from all those steps, you can say. So when they are developing a code, they are doing a build. Okay, so they are doing a build means they are going to deploy the code and they are going to use the DevOps. Okay, that time they are looking for some feedback. Okay, once the code is deployed, once the code is tested, they look for some feedback. And feedback is important in terms of enhancing your application, enhancing the feedback, enhancing the capabilities of application, you can say. So that is going to help you here. We are going to talk about something called a continuous monitoring. So monitoring is one of the important thing, and we talk about, if you look at this diagram, this is going to talk about from the Azure migrate. We have Azure migrate to migrate a product. Okay, we have a security. So we can look at the security thread management and the security management. We can look at the protection, like how to deploy, how to protect from disaster, how to back up your code, how to replicate the code to the nearest environment. So those will be able to protect the environment from the using a backup and disaster recovery. We are going to talk about something called monitoring. So we are going to look at the app monitoring, we are going to look at the infra monitoring, we are going to looking for the network monitoring. We are basically, this is the tool which is going to help you in terms of monitoring. So we have a log analytics and the diagnostics, which is going to help you in terms of doing a setup for your infra or the monitoring the application. We can use a configuration management, update management, and the automation script to automate and create your infra, monitor your infra, and maintain your desired state, kind of a thing which you'll be able to do using the configuration steps. We have a governance. Okay, which can do a policy management and the cost management, and these are help you in terms of a continuous monitoring. These all are helping you in terms of continuous monitoring, and you have to introduce a monitoring stuff which can monitor your all those things, and it can give you the report so that you can go ahead and look at the report and improve your performance. You look at the issues, policy violation, how you can protect the policy, how you can secure the environment, what is the threat you are getting it, how to protect those threats. So that you are going to understand here. We have Azure Log Analytics, which is called as Azure Monitor. Okay, so Azure Monitor is one of the you can say the monitoring framework which is or the services which is available into the Azure, which is going to monitor your application, operating system, all the Azure resources, your subscription, your tenant, and any other custom code which you have into your application that is getting maintained by your application. Okay, you can find the log. Okay, you can look at the monitor and you can find the log. So that you are going to do using Azure Monitor. Azure Monitor generally having a two thing, which is a matrix and the log. This is the two thing which you are getting it from the application. Matrix talks about the numerical values like performance of your machine, how many errors you are getting it, what is the usage onto the server, what is the utilization, CPU percentage, memory percentage, data in, data out. So all those numbers, if you're talking about, all those calls are metrics. If you're going to talk about a log is something you can say written kind of log. Okay, so what is happened, the application is deleted, application has been inserted, anyone has extracted the application, so those are a log. So we have a matrix and the logs available into Azure Monitor, which comes from all those input sources, which could be the application, operating system, Azure resources, subscription, and any other custom services which you can refer it, and all those logs will be available into the Azure Monitor. Once those are available into Azure Monitor, we can utilize these logs and we can take our output. You can take this as an input and you can create a different thing. First thing which you can go ahead and do, you can use into Insight. So you have application Insight. You can go ahead and utilize the container, virtual machine, and the monitoring solution. So you can build something called customized monitoring solution and the Insight. You can utilize those data. You can say you can use those data to create your another resources inside you. You can visualize those data. You can have a dashboard, views. You can create a Power BI dashboard. You can create a workbook. You can display all those metrics into the graph or the graphical format into the dashboard. You can analyze those using a metrics explorer or the log analytics. So these are the other feature which is available into Azure. You can go ahead and analyze the logs. You can go ahead and understand about how the logs are forming, how the performance of your application, how when it has got increased more load, when it is reduced the load. So those kind of analytics you will be able to create using a log analytics. You can respond on the alerts. Okay, so you can go ahead and create something called alerts. So whenever the CPU utilization is more than so much threshold, you can create an alert. And we have seen this as well before in the one of the example where we were implementing a release gate. Okay, release gate, what we have did, if you remember, that we were having a canary deployment and then we had a production deployment. We actually created an app inside onto the Canary website. When we were clicking on the Canary website, we found an error, and error has got created an alert into the system. Once the alert is created, we have failed the release deployment for the production. So that kind of errors. So if anything is happening onto the application, I can go ahead and create alert. Okay, so the CPU percentage is so and so. I can go ahead and generate an alert. I can send to the particular team who can look into that error and what action need to be taken from that particular team. Even you have something called auto scaling. Okay, so if you have a website, you can go ahead and configure something called auto scaling into your environment. If your CPU has been increased, you can go ahead and increase instance on the server, so that you will be able to do automatically by a rule. Even you have something called integration, you can go ahead and integrate with the event hub. You can integrate with the logic app, or you can have a ingress and you can go ahead and export some API out there. Integration means basically you want to have some workflow based architecture which you can develop using a logic app. Like if this is happening, you can go ahead and do some other activity, or you can go ahead and send into the event hub, and event hub can trigger other activity as well. Even you can call a custom API. So you can go ahead and call your if you want to raise a ticket, so you can integrate your external ticketing system with your log analytics. So what happens, you will be able to call those, and you can phrase, or you can say, you can create a ticket out from the monitor. So these things are input, and you can see the process, and you are getting an output which is happening from the Azure Monitor. Okay, so you are getting a metrics and log, and which you can utilize in the different terms. Okay, the Azure Monitor or the Log Analytics work on the KQL language. So this is the Custo query language that is called. You can write a query to get a log from the monitor, okay, or Azure Monitor or Log Analytics. You will be able to query using a Log Analytics query language, that is a KQL language. Okay, you will be able to write. You can go ahead and use Azure Data Explorer to explore those data. You can use Azure Data Studio to look into those data, and you can work on that data. So this is about the Azure Monitor. Okay, and if you talk about now, it's calling about the app inside. Okay, so if you see here, this is talking about Azure Log Analytics, this is talking about Azure Monitor. Okay, and now we are going to move towards something called application level log. Okay, that is called app inside, application inside we call it. You can say this is a subset of your Azure Monitor. Okay, you can say a small part of your Azure Monitor. And here basically we are going to understand about how you can uh, uh, get the logs from the application, from the code level. Okay, so you are going to develop something called web app. Okay, you are going to develop services, a web service and other things. Even you have some services which is running in the backend as a Windows service or as a exe. You can go ahead and generate the logs, okay, or telemetry data from the application. You can push those data to the application insight. And application insight in the Azure, we can have a alert created, we can have a Power BI reports created, we can integrate our app insight with the Visual Studio, we can integrate our app insight with some other external API. We can do a continuous export and deploy application, or somewhere which you can go ahead and push those telemetry data into the different system, so that you will be able to do. And this is following your application level log into your Azure. This app insight is going to help you in terms of monitoring the application. It is going to detect and diagnosing the issues which is there in the application. Now it is going to build, measure, and you will be able to learn with those issues or the errors. Okay, so you can go ahead and create another build, or you can measure those issues. You will be able to learn from those errors or the issues which you have. So these things you will be able to do using our app insight. Okay, let me show you something on the portal here. So if you go to the Azure portal, and there is two things which you will be able to find. There is something called Azure Monitor. If you search for the monitor, you will be able to find Azure Monitor. And if you search for the application insight, so you will be get application insight. Okay, so let me show you something called Azure Monitor now. If I'm going to the Azure Monitor, you can see here Azure Monitor is going to help you to monitor and visualize your matrices. We can query and analyze the log, and we can go ahead and set up the alerts and the action, so that we will be able to do. We are going to basically visualize the error, we are going to find the issues, and we are going to fix those problems to optimize the performance for your application using Azure Monitor. Okay, if you look at the matrix talks about always a numerical value. So in my subscription, for my resources, what all the resources I have, for all those location, I want to select any of the things here. I want to select something called app services, and I want to see this app services and say apply. Now I'll be able to see the values from the app inside. What is the CPU time I have, what is the connection which is coming in, what is the average memory count, what is the data in, what is the data out. Okay, what is the average, what is the maximum, So what you are getting here, you are getting all those numbers. Okay, how much requests you got, how much private bytes you have, how much HTTP requests you are getting. So all those value, you are able to get it, memory percentage. So everything you are getting, and whatever you are getting, that are the numerical value you are able to see here into the chart. So this is, you will be able to see it here. Even you see here, there is a alert to create. You can click on this alert and you can create the alert. You can create a chart. Okay, you can get, showcase in the grid. You can have some log kinds of thing. You can pin to your dashboard. Once you click on pin to dashboard, this metrics will be pinned to your dashboard and you will be able to see your into the dashboard. And click on new alert, and you are going to create an alert that if this is going greater than this, now what action you are looking for. Okay, that you will be able to do here into the monitor section onto the metrics. Even the same thing you will be able to see into log as well. So this is your log section, and you can, you have activity log, whatever you are doing here, all those activity will be get populated here into the activity log. Okay, so all those activities are coming, updated our website, updated something called role based access control. When we updated, we have listed a storage key, we have generated added a management log. So those, all those things are there. Okay, that you will be able to see here. And you can see here the insights. So this is the insights. You have application insight, you have a virtual machine, you have a storage account, container, networks, SQL Server, Cosmos DB, Key Vault, Azure Cache, Azure Data Explorer, Log Analytics, Azure Stack, Service Bus, Insight Hub. So all those things are available here. And you can see here they keep on increasing this data. So earlier it was very a small list, now they keep on adding a new services here which you can go ahead and use inside the Azure Monitor. So these application you can go ahead and interrelate here, and you can be able to find all those, you can say the Azure related logs into in one place into the Azure Monitor. You can do a diagnostic setting, you can have auto scaling rule, you can have a data collection rule. So all those things you will be able to set it into the Azure Monitor. So this Azure Monitor is going to help you to you can say the monitor the log, to look at the alert. Okay, to create alert, to take action onto those alert, that you will be able to do. You can create alert, I can create alert, like I what rule I want to go to select. I can select something called, I want to have alert onto my subscription on onto the my storage account. I'll say done. So now we are going to monitor this storage account. Okay, what is the condition you are looking for? So I'm going to add a condition if my security or some other activity, let me edit. Okay, let me go back to the monitor and then create alert. Okay, so I can go to the monitor and I can say I want to look at the something called metrics. Okay, I want to select my subscription. I'll take my this resources. I'm looking for the storage account, and this is my storage account, and I'll say apply. And if I see my something called availability of my server, okay, currently it's 100%. Okay, it's 100% available. I'm creating an alert on this availability of server. Okay, I'm going to add a condition onto that. So if my availability, okay, of my server is less than I can say average of 60%. Okay, so currently it's 100%. You can see here it's 100%. But if I'm going to set here, if my availability of the server goes down, the threshold goes down. Okay, I want to create an alert. Okay, and I want to add an action group. So there is two things you have when you're creating an alert. There is a scope, means which scope, which services you are looking for. That is your scope. Okay. Condition means on which condition you are going to trigger the alert. And if you're going to trigger the alert, do you want to take any action on that? Yes. So if I can click on add action group. So this is action group I'm going to add here. If you click on action group, Basically, it's asking me to create an action group. When you click on action group, it is taking me to create action group rule. Okay, so creating action group. I can search any of the action group which I have. Okay, that's fine. I can select something like this. This is only read only. Okay, fine. Mm. I'm giving action group name my action. Okay, just I'm giving a name. Okay, you can give any name. That's fine. My action. I'm going to next. So I'm creating I've been just name of the action group. Now next option, I have a notification. Okay, this is basically helping us to notify the people. Okay, so I want to notify to whom? So do you want to email to Azure Resource Manager role? Okay, so I can click on that, and it's asking me which role you want to send. So I want to send to owner, I want to send to contributor, I want to send to monitoring contributor. The group I can go ahead and define. I can add people inside the group. Okay, I'm sending to owner. Okay, so who is the owner of the application? I'm going to send to that people. I'll say okay. Also, I want to notify to a specific people. I don't know the owner, I don't know the specific people. I want to send to the specific people or email ID. I can go and enter the email ID or the group of the emails. Okay, so you can go and define an email. Okay, or the group of email. You can have a SMS carrier. You can send a SMS as well. So you have to link with your SMS provider, and it is going to apply some charges over there. Okay, so make sure you have an integration with the SMS provider, so that you can go ahead and do. Another, you can do Azure app push notification. You can push email notification. You can do a voice calling onto the number. You can do that. Okay, so that you will be able to integrate here, and you can have the action. So you have to just give the notification name. Okay, this is for owner, this is for the personal. Okay, I can have that kind of name defined here. So the two action I have added here, the notification, you can say two notification I have added here. I'll go to next. Now it is asking me what action you want to do. I can skip that as well. If you want only the notification you want to implement, I can go to next. Okay, but if you want to implement a action as well, what action you want to do if this happens or this occurs. Okay, do you want to call a automation runbook? So you have automation runbook integration here. Okay, you can create automation runbook. You can go ahead and define those. You can select your runbook which you want to run, restart the VM, stop the VM, scale up, scale out, remove the VM. That kind of activity which you can do using automation runbook. Okay, or you can write your own runbook, and then you can take action on that runbook. Okay, we have Azure function. So you can go develop any sort of code. Basically, Azure function works on the developing a code. Okay, so you can write some code. You can take a custom action onto that alert. Even you have something called logic app. So logic app is again a workflow based we can say a development. Okay, so if this is happening, what you want to do you want to store when you can have if this is happening, a store to database. If this is happening, go ahead and push the data to the storage account. There are multiple condition and multiple flow which you can go ahead and set up using a logic app. Okay, so this is a logic app, and function app is basically trigger based authenticate development which you'll be able to do into that. Okay, and even you have other secure webhook. So you can call any HTTP URL, HTTPS URL which you can mention. What you want to do on with this URL, you can go ahead and call any of the web services which is hosted outside or in Azure. You can have a secure webhook and webhook. Other thing which I want to show you that is ITSM. So what is this ITSM is? ITSM is basically a ticketing tool. Okay, so you can go ahead and install ITSM connection. Okay, so if you go and right click and you see here, the ITSM is basically a ticketing based tool. Okay, which is helping you to raise a ticket and assign the ticket to the particular team, and this is what it is able to do. And you will be able to subscribe. This is a tool, ServiceNow tool, System Centers tool. There are different tools which is available for your ITSM. So you can go ahead and integrate your all those ticket management tool using this monitor as well. So whenever the utilization or the availability is going down, I want to create a ticket, I need to do a setup and integration with the particular tool, and I will be able to integrate with any of the service management tool. So that's what I will be able to do. Okay, but that's fine. So just I wanted to show you different option which is available. So we have if question comes, what are the actions we can take from the alert? Okay, so we can go ahead and create a notification. We can send a notification to the email. Okay, SMS, we can send email to email, SMS, we can do a push notification, we can do a voice calling, even we can have we can trigger a notification to your Azure resource manager role, which is owner, contributor, reader, monitoring contributor, and the monitoring reader. Even you have something called action, which you'll be able to take action. An action type, we have Azure automation, we have Azure functions, we have ITSM, we have a logic app, secure webhook, and the normal webhook, which is available. So these are the actions can be taken if the this problem is coming up. Then you can go to the next and then just create the action group. Yeah, correct. So you want to send a notification to Slack, then you can go and integrate with the webhook. That's correct. Yeah. And then hit create. So you are creating an action group. Action group is a group of action which you are putting it together, and you are creating a my action kind of thing, which you will be able to create. And once you create an action group, basically you can go ahead and utilize this action group multiple times. Even you can go ahead and select that action group. Okay, and so you have configured a scope, you have configured a condition, you have configured an action group to take an action if this is happening, and then you can define an alert name like my alert. Okay, my alert one, and this is my subscription, this is my resource, and what kind of severity you are. This is the critical severity or warning, what kind of thing you have. uh, so I am just creating this is a warning for me for now, because it is 60%. When it goes more, that is a critical for me, but it's fine. I'm creating a severity 2 ticket, and that has to be created. We have something called App Center Diagnostic. So this is one of the tool which is available to basically monitor your mobile crash report or mobile dump which is there. So this is an App Center Diagnostic available into the cloud, and which helping you developer to monitor the health of application and to understand what is happening onto the application. Those things you will be able to get it from the App Center Diagnostic UI tool. And this tool, you can go ahead and configure those alerts. Okay, in the App Center you can go ahead and create an alert, you can select your application, and then in the setting menu you can go ahead and configure your email notification, and you can go ahead and create a new crash group into that as well. This is just how you can go ahead and do that activity and create a bug. Okay, creating a ticket. So it is just showing here when you are getting a bug tracker, click on that app number, and then you are going to click on add to create a bug. So this is just something called App Center. You will be able to understand and create those application related dump. Then you have something called developing and monitoring status. Okay, so you can go ahead and create a dashboard to monitor the status of your application, to see the what is happening onto the application. So you can go ahead and create something called Azure Dashboard. So you can go ahead and design your Azure dashboard. You can see here all those operation timeout, what is the system availabilities are available, any antivirus is updated or not, how many server is up and running, on which location it is running, what is availability percentage of your application, how many Windows machine, how many Linux machine you have, what is the status of those applications. You can go ahead and design and create as a Azure dashboard. Then you have something called you can visualize those report within the Azure Monitor as well to see the your machine performance. You can see the server performance, Kubernetes services, master nodes, how that is performing. You have a container, how that is performing. how many images are getting stored into your container registry. So everything you will be able to see inside the Azure Monitor. There is Azure Dashboard, and there is something called Azure Monitoring Dashboard. You will be able to configure this to inside the Azure. You have Azure Monitor web workbook. So this is another tool where you can go ahead and visualize those data. Other than Azure, you have other tools also which you can go ahead and integrate. So you can integrate your data with the Power BI. Okay, once you send your data to Power BI, and then you can visualize those data over there into the Power BI as well, to see the all those reports, network connectivity, and whatever you want to send a data, you will be able to get it. Even you have a Grafana. So Grafana is another where you can go ahead and design your monitoring tool for you, and then you can visualize your data over there. Even the option which is available to build your custom application, you can build your custom application. Like you can go ahead and create your own web application or Windows application, whatever you want to create. Then you are going to design that web application by your own choice. Okay, where you want to show what widget, what logs you want to show, how many times you want to refresh those data, and then you basically that you are going to customize completely by your own choice as a web application or a Windows application. So you are going to develop your custom application. That is required, something called your developer effort is required. That's what is saying, that significant engineering effort is required to read those data from the Azure and to visualize to your own application. Okay, but you can design as per your need, and you can get combination of your metrics, dashboard, those things you will be able to do it into by if you are developing your own application for your dashboard purpose. There is something, it's talking about the integrating and configuring ticketing system. So this is what I have shown you in the lab as well. Okay, so just now as a demo I have shown you Itsm connector is available, which will is going to create a connection with your other incident management system. You can have a service now, or the other things which can be interrelated, or you can say you can go ahead and link those from the Azure Monitor to create a monitoring solution into the from the monitoring, you can say the Azure Monitor itself. In this lab, we have a lab for this, and we are going to talk about something called App Insight, how we can go ahead and deploy our application to the Azure web app. And because web app, we have seen the Azure Monitor helps us to monitor your application. Basically, you can see the code based development which you're doing. You can utilize the App Insight into that. Azure Monitor helps you to monitor your infra. Basically, you can say whatever the infra which has deployed into the Azure, that Azure Monitor is going to help you to look for the infra. App Insight is going to look for your application. Okay, so any of the code development which you have did either in the C#, Java, ASP.NET, any other application, whatever application you have developed, even in JavaScript and other application, you can go ahead, integrate, and send your telemetry data or the log data from your application code to the application inside, and you can visualize those data. You can create alerts from the application inside as well, and those things you will be able to monitor and create services over there.